You know, in the world of law enforcement, there are some partnerships that are forged not just by training, but by pure instinct and this unbreakable bond. Today, we're diving into one of the most elite teams on the front line, the South African Police Service's K9 unit. Let's get into it.
And look, if you want to understand just how big their impact is, you only need to hear about Abby. At the recent George building collapse, this incredible Belgian Malinois did something no human or machine could do. She found a survivor who'd been buried for 5 whole days. I mean, this isn't just a job for them, it's a life-saving calling.
An act of heroism like that just begs the question, right? How on earth are these dogs trained to pull off something so incredible? Well, it's not magic. It's actually the result of one of the most rigorous training programs in the world. So how exactly does it all work?
Okay, so the K9 unit is a super specialized team within the South African Police Service. Its whole mission is to give the SAPS an edge, to help prevent, detect, and investigate crime in ways that, frankly, go way beyond what a human is capable of.
This whole unique capability, it all boils down to one amazing thing: leveraging a dog's phenomenal sense of smell. It lets them take on tasks that are just too difficult, too dangerous, or would take way too much time for their human partners.
But here's something you might not know. Not all K9s are the same. Their work is highly specialized, and every single dog is trained for one of 2 key roles. You've got patrol, and you've got detection. Let's break down what that really means.
So on the most basic level, you can think of it as action versus information. Patrol dogs are the ones you see tracking down and apprehending suspects. Detection dogs, though, they're the specialists. They're trained to find very specific things and then just indicate where they are.
And this is where that specialization gets really fascinating. Patrol dogs, they're trained to follow human scent, but detection dogs are focused on specific chemical odors, like narcotics or explosives. And this means they need totally different personalities. A patrol dog has to be confident, with a high defense drive, because they might face a confrontation. Their response could be a find and bite. A detection dog, on the other hand, needs an almost obsessive hunt drive, but has to stay calm and focused. Their entire mission is to find and sit, just passively pointing out a target so they don't disturb any evidence.
Now, these different jobs often call for different strengths. So while we all picture a German Shepherd or a Malinois like Abby, the SAPS actually uses a whole variety of breeds. You'll see Labradors, Rottweilers, even Bloodhounds, which are just incredible trackers. At the end of the day, it's really less about the specific breed and way more about the individual dog's temperament and drive to work.
So, how do you actually build one of these teams? Well, getting a dog ready for the field is an intense journey. And that's because it's not just about training an animal. It's about forging a truly inseparable bond between the officer and their canine.
The process is incredibly deliberate. It all starts with a super careful selection. They're looking for confident, fearless dogs, usually between 9 months and 3 years old. Then there's a serious assessment to see if they've got the right stuff. After that, the most important step begins. The handler and the dog train together, building that core bond through basic obedience. Only after that's solid do they move into months of specialized training, all before facing a final, grueling certification to prove they're ready.
And this quote just says it all, doesn't it? Before any of the fancy skills are taught, the #1 priority is building an absolute nonverbal bond. That trust, that's the foundation for everything else.
All right, so with that bond forged, these teams are ready for some of the most dangerous work in the country. Let's take a look at where all this intense training gets put to the test, out on the front line. These teams are deployed in these really high-impact operations where their skills are absolutely essential. We're talking about combating illegal mining, where they're sniffing out hidden explosives. We're talking about disaster response, like Abby's life-saving work. And of course, the daily grind of securing our borders, finding hidden narcotics and cash at roadblocks and ports.
Now, because their work is so high stakes and, let's be honest, so cool, a lot of myths have popped up around police dogs. So let's just take a second and set the record straight on a couple of common ones.
This is probably the biggest one out there. You know, people see a powerful dog barking, and they just assume it's been trained to be aggressive and mean. But is that really the case?
Not even close. The reality is that these dogs are highly trained athletes, not vicious animals. They have to have a stable, even temperament. Any aggression you see is 100% controlled by the handler for very specific, tactical situations. And their main reward for a job well done? It's not punishment. It's positive reinforcement, usually with their favorite toy. To them, it's all a game.
Okay, here's another one people ask about. What about their personal lives?
Do these amazing partners just clock off and go to a kennel at the station at the end of their shift?
And the answer to that is a hard no. Canine partners go home with their handlers. They become part of the family. This 24/7 relationship is what really solidifies that inseparable bond we've been talking about, the one that's absolutely crucial for them to trust each other in the field.
So all of this, the intense training, that deep bond, the incredible skills, it all tells us something really important. These canine units aren't just a standard tool. They are a highly specialized and, crucially, a scarce resource.
And that leads to a really practical question that a lot of people have. If they're so effective, why don't we see a canine unit at every single crime scene?
Well, their deployment has to be strategic. First off, they're reserved for high-risk, high-priority cases where their unique skills are truly needed. Think a murder or an armed robbery. Second, they're only sent out when a dog's specific talent is required to move a case forward. And finally, you have to remember, these are elite athletes. They need downtime and constant training to stay at the top of their game. If you overdeploy them, they'd burn out, and their effectiveness would drop.
So this leaves us with one final thought. In an age of drones, AI, and all sorts of advanced sensors, what's the future for this ancient partnership? You know, while technology keeps advancing, it really seems like there's still no algorithm that can replicate the instinct, the loyalty, and the bond that defines the canine unit.